Warped Tour 2007, I've got Alex from All Time Low.
What up?
Hey bitches. Okay, so I wasn't gonna make this deep dive because honestly, everything I say in this is probably on their Wikipedia. One thing about me is that All Time Low has been my favorite band since I was 15. I'm 28. I'm old, okay? So yeah, let's just deep dive into All Time Low. My qualifications to talk about this include the fact they've been my favorite band since 2009. I was in this fandom when Alex was with Tay from We Are the In Crowd, and Ryan was with Cassidy from Hey Monday, and I also saw their episode of Silent Library. So yeah, once again, I am very old. Okay, moving on. Are they cancelled? To some people. To me? Not really. Jack is a weirdo. I do have to say that. I have to say that right away. Jack Barakat is a weirdo. He always has been. However, the music is still iconic and very nostalgic for me. All Time Low was formed in 2003 by Alex Gascar, Jack Barakat, the weirdo, Zach Merrick, and Ryan Dawson. If you want more lore, I can suggest listening to their songs So Long Soldier and Basement Noise. They're from Baltimore, Maryland, and all of them met in high school. Their band name comes from a New Found Glory song. Before they had any original songs, All Time Low basically started off as a cover band covering Blink-182 songs. Their debut EP, The 3 Words to Remember in Dealing with the End, was released in 2004. They were signed to an independent label called Emerald Moon. A year later, their debut album, The Party Scene, was released. Then they got dropped from Emerald Moon. In late 2006, they performed a showcase for somebody from Fueled by Ramen. Yes, that Fueled by Ramen. The Fueled by Ramen that gave us Paramore, A Day to Remember, Fall Out Boy, 303, etc. So basically, the founder of Fueled by Ramen didn't want to sign them because the band Cute Is What We Aim For had just been signed to that label. Yes, it sounds wild, but there was once a time where pop punk was taking off, yes, but because it was taking off at such a high rate, the record labels were just like, well, we already have a pop punk band. Basically, think of how there were like female-fronted bands that would come later that wouldn't get signed because Paramore already existed. It was kind of like that. Examples would be like Tonight Alive, Hey Monday, Automatic Love Letter, stuff like that. And before anybody starts coming for me, I love Paramore. The deep dive on Paramore is coming because if there's one thing I can do, it's yap about them. I love you, Hayley Williams. So All Time Low, after not being signed, went on tour with a band called Amber Pacific, who somehow got them in contact with Hopeless Records. In 2006, they signed with Hopeless Records, and then finally graduated high school. After graduating, they released an EP called Put Up or Shut Up. In my opinion, some of the most memorable and iconic songs on this were Jay-Z Ray, Lullabies, and Coffee Shop Soundtrack. They went on tour to support the EP and start building their fan base. Because yes, it does sound like they had done a lot already, to an extent they had, but this EP was really the start of everything, if that makes sense. In 2007, they played Warped Tour. Their second album, So Wrong It's Right, was released in September 2007. Iconic songs from this album are 6 Feet Under the Stars, Dear Maria Count Me In, Remembering Sunday featuring Juliet Sims from Automatic Love Letter, Stay Awake, Dreams Only Last for a Night, Poppin' Champagne, and Come One, Come All. Then they continued to tour. In 2008, they were on Warped Tour again, but then they went on their own tour, and their own tour was called The Compromising of Integrity, Morality, and Principles in Exchange for Money Tour. Which, knowing what we know now, not the greatest title for a tour. At some point, they covered Umbrella by Rihanna for the compilation album Punk Goes Pop. Remember Punk Goes Pop? That was a good-ass album. Some of those covers were very good. In December of 2008, All Time Low was named Band of the Year by Alternative Press. Being mentioned by Alternative Press was always a big deal because that magazine was very niche. So if you knew it, you knew it. But it was also the only kind of way paired with MySpace that like you could get direct information about your favorite bands. Like, the emo magazine was Alternative Press. In 2009, All Time Low released their third album, Nothing Personal. Side note, this is where I enter the fandom. The first single off that album was Weightless. Some of the most popular songs from this album were Break Your Little Heart, Damned If I Do Ya, Damned If I Don't, Lost in Stereo, Stella, Weightless, Hello Brooklyn, and fan favorite, Therapy. If you have never been a 15-year-old girl alone in your room sobbing to Therapy by All Time Low, were you ever really a 15-year-old girl? Anyway, this was my favorite All Time Low album for the longest time. Nothing Personal became their biggest charting album to date. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard charts. They toured with Hey Monday. I love this because I love this band, and this is also the tour where Ryan met Cassidy and they started dating. Also on that tour were Metro Station and Cobra Starship, and they were all basically opening up for Fall Out Boy. Now, this has not been confirmed, but if you remember back in the day, Alex from All Time Low and Jack had beef with Trey Cyrus from Metro Station. At the Alternative Press Music Awards, they were just talking shit about each other. It's been so long, I don't even remember what happened. I think one of them was like, Trey Cyrus looks like a horse, because that was a popular insult back in the day, and honestly, nobody was wrong. Trey Cyrus does look like a horse. But anyway, so yeah, in my opinion, that's where the beef between Metro Station and All Time Low started. Thank you, Fall Out Boy. In November 2009, they announced that they had signed with Interscope Records. The next year, in May, a concert DVD called Straight to DVD was released, and of course, I was obsessed with it. Now, when I say obsessed, I mean I could literally still hear the ad-libs that they would do in certain songs, or like the talking parts, I hear them in my head. That's how much I listened to this album and watched this DVD. So about that DVD, looking back on it, there are weird jokes to make, knowing that your fan base is primarily teenagers. I specifically remember this one quote-unquote joke where they're all throwing bras on the stage, and then Jack, of course, has the bra on his mic stand, and it's weird. It is weird. That's why I say he's always been a weirdo, because he just has. Then they went on a tour called My Small Package, another weird thing to name your tour, knowing that your fans are teenage girls, but I kind of, in a way, I get it, because I remember them being very immature. So they went on that tour with A Rocket to the Moon. Oh my god, remember A Rocket to the Moon? I was obsessed with Baby Blue Eyes and Dakota and Annabelle. Oh my god, A Rocket to the Moon. Wow, what a throwback. Also on that tour was a band called City, State. I don't know who that is. On March 15th, 2010, All Time Low was featured on the soundtrack for the live-action Alice in Wonderland movie. That just took me back, because I specifically remember being obsessed with 3 songs on this soundtrack. Painting Flowers by All Time Low, Alice by Avril Lavigne, and Where's My Angel by Metro Station. Those were my top 3. In June 2011, they released their 4th album called Dirty Work. Iconic songs from that album were A Daydream Away, Merry Christmas Kiss My Ass, and I Feel Like Dancing. In the spring, they went on tour with Hey Monday, again, Yellow Card, and the Somerset. Oh my god, the Somerset, I loved them. I was obsessed with the Somerset. I just have a note about Ryan and Cassidy, how Ryan was dating Cassidy from Hey Monday at this point. Cute. They were on and off for about 7 years, but eventually broke off their engagement in 2017. I'm going to mention Alex and Lisa, aka Alex Gaskarth and Lisa Gaskarth, the now married couple, later, but basically, yeah, they're married. And they had been together since high school, so I love that for them. They literally went to prom together. All Time Low concluded their summer 2011 Gimme Summer Love tour with We Are the In Crowd, Mayday Parade, The Starting Line, and The Cab. Oh my god, I loved We Are the In Crowd. Also in 2011, Alex was featured on the song Kiss Me Again from We Are the In Crowd. They went back on Warped Tour in 2012. Fun fact, I saw Alex sing on stage with Tay from We Are the In Crowd. They performed Kiss Me Again at my Warped Tour date, and it was just as iconic as you would think. In May 2012, All Time Low had left Interscope Records to eventually sign with Hopeless Records for the second time. Their 5th album, Don't Panic, was released in October. Iconic songs from that album were The Reckless and the Brave, A Love Like War featuring Vic Fuentes from Pierce the Veil, Somewhere in Neverland, and For Baltimore. Side note about Love Like War, I just think about how back in the Tumblr days, we all had usernames that were like the songs that we liked, but everybody was doing this, so sometimes you would have to put numbers in the song titles, or like the dashes, and everybody had a variation of A Love Like War. Like, that was everybody on Tumblr's favorite song at one point. Mine was Somewhere in Neverland. and For Baltimore and The Reckless and the Brave. Like, I was always changing my URL to All Time Low song titles. In September 2013, they released an extended version of that album called Don't Panic, It's Longer Now. The sixth album, Future Hearts, was released on April 7, 2015. Singles from that were Something's Gotta Give and Kids in the Dark. Confession. Like, I didn't like that album, so I stopped listening after Don't Panic. So technically, have I heard Future Hearts by All Time Low? No, I have not. Around that same time, they released a second concert DVD called Straight to DVD 2, Past, Present, and Future Hearts. In 2016, Alex Gaskarth finally married his longtime girlfriend, Lisa. Rocco? I never knew how to say her last name, but they're married now, so her last name is Gaskarth, okay? All Time Low's seventh album, Last Young Renegade, was released on June 2nd, 2017. Again, not much to say about this one because I had left the fandom. In 2019, they released a re-recorded version of songs from Nothing Personal for the 10-year anniversary of that album. I was obsessed with this 10-year anniversary of Nothing Personal re-recorded album. I was like, literally, I cried listening to some songs because the nostalgia would just come back. And I would just suddenly be 15 again in my room alone on Tumblr, crying to All Time Low. Except it was 10 years later, so I was 25 and I was still crying with All Time Low. Their power. Anyway, the eighth album, Wake Up Sunshine, was released on April 3rd, 2020. I loved this album. The singles from this were Some Kind of Disaster, Sleeping In, Getaway Green, and Monsters. There are two versions of Monsters, one featuring Demi Lovato and one featuring Black Bear. I love the version with Demi Lovato. Now, in 2021, things start getting kinda weird. The band is hit with their first scandal, allegations that they were being inappropriate with teenage girls. Not to pick and choose, but mainly I think the allegations were about Jack. Like I've said throughout this video, he always gave weird vibes. At first, it was funny because you're kind of like, oh, haha, he's just immature, but then you grow up and you're an adult and you look back on this and you're like, yeah, he wasn't immature, he was a fucking weirdo, for lack of another term. Because, yeah, like I said, he used to make jokes about girls throwing their bras on stage and he would always be laughing at dick jokes, and it's like, why are you laughing at dick jokes in front of a bunch of 16-year-old girls? So a lawsuit is filed, and then lots of claims start coming out about All Time Low's behavior with fans. Eventually, though, it's proven that 90 claims were false. Basically, somebody set up a fake Twitter account or a TikTok account or something, some type of social media account, where they were like, this happened to me at the All Time Low concert, or All Time Low did this to me, and it was all fake. It's proven that the claims are false, and then they take some time off because everyone is still talking about these allegations. People start calling them All Crime Low. Other people are pissed that bands go on tour with them, and they're like, I can't believe you would do this, and it's just a whole thing. So it's quiet until 2023, when they release their ninth album, called Tell Me I'm Alive. Side note, they have a collab with my fave, Avril Lavigne. It's called Fake as Hell. I still haven't heard it, but that exists in case you want to check it out. Avril Girly Rise. In 2024, All Time Low released a compilation album called The Forever Sessions Volume 1. As of 2025, we still don't have Volume 2, but okay. Which included re-recorded versions of songs from their earlier albums. I cried the first time I heard it. Fun fact, when it was released, it said ATL's version, for All Time Low, obviously. But now if you look it up on Apple Music, I personally only have Apple Music, so that's where I listen to it, and it just says re-recorded version. It doesn't say ATL's version anymore. I just want to yap about Remembering Sunday on this version, on this album specifically, because, look, I famously have said that Remembering Sunday is my favorite All Time Low song of their entire catalog. Juliet Sims was amazing on that song. But on the re-recorded version, we have Lisa, aka Alex's wife. Now, if you've never heard Remembering Sunday, obviously I suggest go listen to it. But there's a line that says, I think I'm going to ask her to marry me. And I just think it's a cute full circle moment because obviously he did end up marrying Lisa. So that's cute. In 2025, their 10th album was released. It's called Everyone's Talking. Singles from that are Sucker Punch, The Weather, Oh No, Butterflies, and Sugar featuring JoJo. No, not that JoJo. We're talking about Leave Get Out JoJo. That song was very good. My favorite song off that album is probably Sucker Punch. To end this, I just want to say overall, I love All Time Low. They've done some weird shit, some inappropriate shit. their music is nostalgic for me. And also, Jack Bearcat, you're a weirdo. And that's the end of the deep dive.